Do you find it difficult to focus on your customers and even your own employees as you're juggling numerous vendors? Do you have more meetings with vendors than you can count? And do their reports filled with technical jargon make you feel clueless and frustrated? Such is the story of Nathan. Being at a car dealership, he's concerned about his store's digital marketing presence and invests most of his time dealing with vendors to promote his business and gain more sales and market share. Nathan is busy handling reports and reviewing them, not knowing what is happening on the advertising front and about his true ROI. Poor Nathan is worried but can't figure out a solution until he found BZ Consultants Group. BZ Consultants stepped in and was able to take the digital marketing vendor burden off Nathan's plate, giving him peace of mind that the best interest of the dealer was always top of mind. Being an unbiased third party, BZ Consultants always made sure to relay the reports in easy, relatable, and actionable ways so that Nathan could best utilize the data. Now, Nathan can focus on what he really wanted, the customer experience and growth. By being your digital marketing business partner, BZ Consultants Group will remove the hassle trying to hold your vendors accountable and increase your productivity with the time you will now have armed with true data. Together, we make it possible because your success is our goal.
Welcome into the Furniss Fast Lanes, Facts Not Feelings. This is a Facts Not Feelings Friday day. Oh my goodness. It is, Madi, you and I are just talking. We're really, really excited to have this year over, done with, and to be on to the next year. Very excited about this.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if anybody else is feeling that, but the people with whom I've spoken thus far are definitely feeling this right now. Like, let's just get on the next year. But before we do, we've got to bring in Miss Madi Morgan, who just crushed it on the EV show yesterday. And before we get into that, Russell, you are going to have to help me a little bit on tennis show furnace. So you're going to have to help me exactly what that means. I'm sure it's an autocorrect, or you were walking and talking and speech to text is like, I'm going rogue. I'm not really sure. Help me on this one. But hello and great day to you, sir. Always good to have you in here. Always good to have you in here. So Madi, you crushed it yesterday. Absolutely amazing. Such a great episode. We've got clarification here. Hold on. Can't wait for the nuggets that you're going to drop. And Peter, you're normally first on commenting. Like before we even get started, like things are coming in for you. Super excited to have you in there. As shoe that is.
Tennis shoe.
Got it. Gotcha. I was very confused there. Glad like I said, this is water in here right now, ladies and gentlemen, but we're at the point where we're going to be switching this over to something a lot stronger in a little bit here. And Russell's under the weather. Yes, he is. Madi, so let's just dive right into this. Like you killed it yesterday. And Jeff, hello to you. What was one of your main takeaways from this episode that we had said kind of tongue in cheek, but not really, that it might ruffle a few feathers. It's like furnace and feathers put together, feathers. Just because we're talking about EV and people sometimes have to have their own very heated opinions on it. And Russell, take care of yourself, dude. Sending good vibes. Hopefully it wasn't something super, super serious. You're the second one of my friends that had surgery yesterday. So be careful there, sir. But what was one of your main takeaways from the show that you just crushed yesterday? Oh, you there, Madi? And I think Madi is frozen.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. There we go. You're back there. All right. What was one of your main takeaways? Oh, you there still?
There we go.
There we go. The joys of going live. What was one of your main takeaways from the show what was one of your main takeaways from the show that dropped yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about a lot of different things, right? Throughout a lot of different stats. I think one of the most things that advertisers should be really cognizant about as we continue to see the rise of EVs in the marketplace is really a term we call peak model complexity. So peak model complexity is a kind of a convergence of when we'll start to see that new EV models will be introduced, as well as all of the traditional ICE vehicles. But we're really going to reach a convergence point in the next few years where there's going to be so many different models out there for consumers to choose from, right? So something that people will really have to, and advertisers especially, combat is finding different ways to get really creative and go to market with all these different vehicles so they're well positioned in the marketplace and really be able to reach these audiences of different users based on this sheer influx of model availability we'll see around 2028.
And I just want to go off that a little bit longer. So if you haven't already watched the episode, first off, go watch it, go listen to it, however you consume it. You broke down, it wasn't just that they're coming in 2028, it was like 650 vehicles. Like, and we had talked a little bit about, hey, a lot of times I hear that, oh, we're just all the ICE vehicles are going away. I'm like, no, that's not what happens.
They're not.
Like, if I have a, insert a BMW, I've got that model of the X5, there's now a EV of it. If I have a Hyundai Tucson, that Tucson's not going to have an EV of it. So it's an addition to that. But when you start to think about 650 models, that is a ton of models. Lots of fire being dropped. Yes, Robert, it is. And so that was something in particular that I had never heard those numbers. Like, we started out and you just started dropping bombs when it came to like spitting facts like crazy. As soon as we opened up, I was like, dang, she came to play.
Yeah. I mean, if you've listened to the episode, we go in super deep on kind of the progression of peak model complexity and availability of these vehicles. Not only EV, but also ICE. So yeah, 650 different models will be available in the next few years for consumers to choose from, which is wild. But yeah, if you want to hear the whole kind of deep dive and progression of that, definitely check out the full episode. So I don't repeat the exact same thing that we already talked about.
I love the little teaser, by the way. That's a nice plug. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So another thing that I know, that whether it's myself on the BEV everything team, or you and I speaking, or even with my friends that are in the industry and outside the industry, that education portion is so big. Like, not just I need to know about the EVs and not just have one specialist. Everybody needs to be a specialist, because anybody comes in, oh, Brooke's off. Well, sorry, you can't buy an EV today because I know nothing about them. Okay, understand that everyone should be educated on this, and then understanding, are you educating your consumer? And when the consumer says that they want to buy an EV, understand why. Why do they want to buy an EV? Is it because it's the newest and coolest thing? Or is there I won't say that's not an actual reason, but understanding, is this the best fit for you? Otherwise, we're going to continue to perpetuate this I hate EV bullshit that everyone, oh, they're horrible. It's being, and yeah, the government has definitely stepped in, and the OEMs have said, you got to sell this, blah, 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 blah. So how are you going to do that? And so to me, the education is so key to understand what's their lifestyle like. Are they wanting to tow vehicles? Are they wanting to take it up into the mountains? Or, maybe they only drive 2 days a week. Well, that might be a good fit for you. We got Joshua saying, recently heard an EV advocate talk about how Tesla is likely to hit 18% total market share, not just EVs, by 2035. Due to less than the lackluster product of all other major players. And you actually talked about this and you're like, we were probably like 40 minutes in, 30 minutes. You're like, and I haven't even brought up Tesla yet.
Yeah.
So do you want to take this question?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tesla's continuing to gain market share as they do. But something kind of interesting that we're seeing and that we talked about in the show is, so like 9 out of 10 return to market Tesla households that purchase another EV also purchase another Tesla. So this is the only kind of brand that this is the case for right now. But I guess a unique shopping habit for Tesla owners specifically is that they're extremely loyal. So as we start to see these new EV models come into the marketplace, it's going to be interesting to see, okay, are these customers as loyal to these newer EV brands that we have less data on as they are to a Tesla, for example?
Agreed. And am I saying that Tesla's the end all be all? No, just right now they have, even though all their cars are being recalled right now, that's a whole other story. But
yeah, we're not going to get into that.
Let's just take it off the market here because autopilot's going rogue. But there's a reason why everybody is chasing them. I mean, whether originally it was, yes, it was the first EV that came out. I was like, ooh, that's sexy. I can get into that. I like that. But then you saw inside, well, it's got this massive like iPad there. There wasn't a lot to it. Like, to me, it was like, oh, this is kind of bland. it was just a cool vehicle. It looks sexy, and you're not
something
seeing
new, something different.
Yes, the charging was a big one, like their charging system. And now you've seen more OEMs that are integrated with them. But I definitely saw that. I mean, continue to see that everyone is trying to chase Tesla. I saw a report recently that Nissan is finally their share of market share increased. I go, I wonder if that has anything to do with the Aria. Now they pushed that back like 2 years. Like it kept getting pushed back, and COVID happened, what have you. But you see all the EVs coming on board, and at the end of the day, they're still all chasing Tesla. So yeah. Joshua, I hope that answers your question there. And you're saying hello to Russell. And Russell, the technology is moving so very fast. There are so many different types. There is. I mean, you got into even like, hey, here's ICE, here's PEV, here's just regular E. I mean, there's all these different types. And I can't remember if I was talking to you about this. I got to remember now. But just how I think it's the PEVs. It's either, I think it's PEVs, because it's like it's a nice little mixture between like, okay, I can.
Yeah.
You're seeing those sell.
That's a good point on any of the BEV vehicles out there. So right now we're seeing that as people acquire BEV vehicles or hybrids, whatever you want to call them, that's a stepping stone into an EV purchase, right? So they're kind of soft launching their purchase with a BEV, kind of trying it out, testing the waters. But we're seeing a lot of the times that those owners are moving into an EV as a next step in their journey of buying a vehicle.
Yes. And that's been, I'm actually surprised we haven't gotten this yet. Like, hey, will they explode? They catch on fire? There's actually a less percentage of an EV vehicle catching on fire than FEV actually catch on fire more than the EVs do, which was kind of crazy to me. I was reading a couple of different reports on this. I was like, that's interesting. And it wasn't like a ton. I'm not saying they catch on fire a lot, because that is such a misnomer out there that EVs catch on fire. No, it's not anymore. In fact, sometimes they're actually less than an ICE vehicle. So slow your roll on that one.
I don't have any stats to share on that front.
Yeah, I wish I had the article pulled up. I should have brought it up here. And this is coming from someone like, we have 3 vehicles in the driveway right now. They're all ICE. Now, that being said, I've been a sedan person my entire life. I like a sedan. Like, call me crazy, but I do. I got a truck, a SUV truck recently. Well, it's been 2 years now, and it gets better gas mileage than any of the sedans I have. We have 2 SUV trucks in our driveway right now, and they all get incredible gas mileage, like really, really good. Peter saying disagreed. Nobody is chasing Tesla. OEMs were never in the space. Tesla would be chasing their market share as soon as they are now under 50% share market. I'd say they're chasing the technology, because to the point is that model. Yeah, the business model. I mean, you see Ford want to go to direct to consumer, then everyone else is trying to go to direct to consumer. It's like, well, that works with Tesla because they have like 2 models, like 3 models, and that's it. You don't have an F-150 that has 50 different trims that you're never going to have in stock anyway. So it's more that the business model and what they're doing, and going back to the loyalty factor of people buy a Tesla, they're most likely going to buy another one, like unless their car did catch on fire. And
yeah.
or what was I saw the one that was the battery, that they had to retrace the battery, and all of a sudden the OEM or the dealership couldn't. They're like, no, you're gonna have to pay for it. And it was like a month old, so he literally lit the entire Tesla on fire, like himself.
Wow. That's one way to do it.
We put a tremendous focus on education with our service marketing efforts leading up to the Aria launch. Yes, and that goes back to the education portion. Like, so important with any launch. Very, very few launches go smoothly, but the education part. So the other one, going off of education, is communication, and how we just need to be open and honest about everything. And that concern, like if you asked your salesperson right now, and you go grab them around and say, hey, why would you buy an EV? And if they all say, I would never do it, ask them why. Figure out why. Is it a factual reason why they wouldn't, or it's a fear-based opinion that isn't based in facts? And then if they say I would, ask them why again. Because EV customers they're way more educated than the normal consumer. It's a completely different consumer. So you don't want to be asked a question that you don't have the answer to. Like, it's like this fear that I don't know what I'm talking about. So make sure that you have that communication, not just your employees, but also with the consumer as well. I don't know if you want to go on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know, like, if your customer is educated, they feel comfortable about their purchase, they're going to be more loyal to your dealership. So as you continue to educate your customers and be open and honest about communication make sure an EV is a right fit for them, that'll just trickle into loyalty. So yeah, I mean, putting a tremendous focus on education with your service marketing efforts, like if people have questions about the service of the Aria or anything, that's going to make them feel a lot more comfortable that you know what you're talking about and can help them with any of their needs, past, present, and future.
Amen. All right. What would be another takeaway from the show that you have?
Differentiation is going to be a key one. And that really ties back with education and communication. So differentiation, I mean, we already talked about how many models are going to be available, whether that's ICE, whether that's PHEV, whether that's EV, but differentiating between those key features, between all of those vehicles is going to be so important. Knowing what consumers to go after for what type of vehicle. And then some, I guess, really important things that you should be considering is, are you reaching the right people as you're going to market with these different strategies based on their overall customer profile? Affordability is a huge factor in that. Are you reaching people who fit that profile for an EV buyer? And then are you actually measuring your car sales of EVs as a result?
Yes. And I would say to take that a step further is that we kind of went into a little bit about, hold up, Russell, I'm getting to your comment, buddy. Oh, I got to like stand up and get, this is a lengthy comment here, Russell. I love it. I know EV is coming on a big way. Equally, infrastructure is critical and it's very frustrating to people. Range anxiety, yeah, that's a big one. Not to mention all the attention China is getting and the cobalt mines and those conditions. Do you have any thoughts on why not one charging station has come along online almost a year after the infrastructure bill has passed? I think it would help the consumer. Just curious. Do you want to take that? You want me to take that?
You can go for it.
Okay. So, and I am not 100% sure if John Ellis is on this call, he would be able to jump in and give you like stats on this. So you're saying that there's not another charging station that's come online. My understanding is that they're all now going, as of like 6 months ago, you've got all the other OEMs that are now going to integrate with the Tesla chargers so they can have the super fast charging, super duper amazing charging. But I am unaware that there hasn't been a single charging station that's come online. And when you say that, because what I'm seeing from a Google Maps or when I go and check the charging stations like nearest me, those are popping up like crazy. So I want to make sure that I'm understanding exactly what you're seeing. I mean, it used to be like if I went back 2 years ago and I'd search a charging station and find out, plot my map, not that I have an EV, but you can see exactly where everything is. There was hardly any. Like we were in Napa for DMSC a couple years ago. It was back when DMC was still in Napa. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And Brian Pash did the same thing. He's like, I'm going to test. He goes, I can't even see any charger. And we're in California. He goes from Napa to, I'm sure he was flying out of San Fran or something like that. And he goes, there's like one, maybe there's either 1 or 0. So either they weren't claiming them or they weren't there. And now you're seeing they're everywhere. I'm seeing OEMs trying to, if the dealer hasn't claimed it, they're going to take it from you. So claim your charge point listing. So Russell, I don't know if that answers your question, but I'm trying my best to answer that one. And yes, John is very smart. I heard that about Tesla, that they hadn't done anymore. Huh? Yeah, I'd have to look into that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I've seen a lot of chargers pop up on maps that were never there a year ago. So I'm not 100% sure on that one, and I'm not here to spread misinformation. That is for sure. Joshua is saying, can you post a link to the ad or organic content that shows everything you're talking about? I find context help differentiating. In my opinion, most leaders don't actually know what this looks like, and I assume it's a buzzword marketing media folks use to charge more. So are you talking about, once again, making sure I just literally got caught up in my headphones in case anyone's wondering, I just about fell off my chair. So Joshua, when you're saying this, so I'll let you take this one because you were the one talking about the organic and content. Do you want to take this one here?
For ads and organic content. So are you looking for like examples of what those should look like? Or are you talking about the data behind what we're talking about?
Yeah, Josh, let us know in the comments there. Because the other portion is also going into the like demographics. I mean, that's massive. I mean, if you're how you're marketing an EV, because I hate to date myself here right now, but my generation is the 2-3 generation behind me are on their second vehicle. And that's just crazy to me. And what are we doing to market to them and to advertise to them, whether that be paid advertising or organic advertising? And that how you go about doing that is really, really key. So yeah, Josh, when you get a second, we'll come back to you. In the meantime, I'm going to go to Russell here real quickly. I meant the money the government set aside for building infrastructure nationally. That is, I know the charging stations are going up, but it has not been from the bill. From what I understand, anyway, this is what I meant. You know what? I don't know on that one, Russell. I'm not sure how they're differentiating that money, to be quite honest. So I will defer that and have John Ellis answer that one, because I know he's got more stats he knows what to do with. So I'll ask him on that one, because I'm not sure that the one you're. I'm unaware of this, so I can't speak to that. Andrew is saying there are plenty of CCC charging stations around, but many have issues with either just working, yes, and giving the full power out. Amen to that one. The move to Tesla's NACS chargers should help, as well as infrastructure adopted as the standard. Yes, and that is what's so key, is that something, if you've claimed your charge point, please keep that up to date. Hey, it's working. It's not working. This is a big problem when you go to these other charging stations and they're not working. And then Joshua is saying, example, back to the question about, can you post an ad or organic? I personally, what I would do, and then Maddie, I'm going to have you take this. There's so much misinformation out there. Like, it's nuts how much misinformation out there. So if I'm a dealer, and I know we kind of talked about this in the show, is, hey, let's go through and take the 10 questions that we are so fearful to ask or to be asked, or our top 10 pain points about it. Like, let's take the range anxiety. Okay, great. John Ellis did a great job on this one, where he actually did a video vlog, if you will, of his trip, like for 3,000 miles in his Tesla. So another one I love is that when I have driven EVs, how freaking fast they are. Like, that is something. Why post more videos of you just like taking off the starting line and cruising? I mean, things like that. And then answering those questions that are dispel those myths out there. I'm now going to yield my time over to you, Maddie, on this one.
Yeah. So for examples of help me out here a little bit.
Yeah. So he just wants to know examples. My understanding, Joshua, if I'm hearing you correctly on this one, is that you want examples of the organic. Let me go back up to your question here. Examples of ad or organic content that show everything you're talking about. So just talking a little bit more like how what some examples you have of that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, we don't necessarily create the ads. We give our clients the data behind to power their ads. But I could help you get some examples of what that differentiation looks like, or the differentiation in that audience data to help you then create those ads from there.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and
absolutely.
Also,
send me a message on LinkedIn and we'll connect.
And also know that if they're buying an EV, it's most likely their second vehicle, and there's probably an ICE vehicle sitting in their driveway. So knowing that as well. I mean, there's knowing how your clients and your audience is interacting. Hey, are they big on, first off, where do we advertise? Okay, we're great on Facebook. Awesome. They probably don't want to go to LinkedIn then. Hey, TikTok's great for advertising and marketing yourself and a company, but what's your presence like right now? If your presence not great, then stay off of there. And how you advertise on TikTok versus Facebook, Instagram, or a hero banner that we all love to put on our sites, way different. So I that's how I would do it. So Joshua, I hope that answers your question on that one. We've got Peter saying the challenge is the superchargers were designed for Tesla, whereas the OEMs have different charging points that can take up 2 stalls. Again, as a Tesla owner, true. That's why all the OEMs are now they're integrating with that. It's not all the OEMs, but you're seeing more and more come on board to do that. But yes, that Tesla has the charging under control. Russell just asking, not trying to stir the pot. Russell, I'm going to say no to that one. You're definitely stirring the pot on this one. It's a 500,000 charging stations by 2030. They are on the way. Okay, there we go. And we've got just asking, we backed this one. And then 3,000 mile vlog by a DP and an EV is an awesome example of organic content that dealers can use as ideas. Do you have an ad version of that vlog? When you say ad, I would do almost like if you're doing any type of OTT streaming, dude, have it on there. Like, I would also have as we were just talking before, and I've been in about 3 hours meetings before we jumped on here, and was talking about just like service in general. Okay, service. What are you doing from a service standpoint? And not that we're talking about service, but to take that into EV is, I'd say the service manager to introduce themselves. Then you do a walk around, because there is that anxiety, back to the range anxiety, of even like just plotting out each place that you're going to. If you aren't doing a 3,000-mile vlog, hey, here's from our dealership, the next 2 hours, next 3 hours, here's every single charging station. If you could have I'm doing this off the top of my head right now, but like your wind blowing your hair in the back, and it's like you taking off the starting line and how fast the car is. I mean, on your website, this is more organic, but also having your Russell, I'll get back to the camera situation. Is having the top 10 questions, frequently asked questions that are being asked all the time in your store or you're fearful to ask, and get those out there, because now you're going to show up in Google as hopefully, I would say it used to be the 0 position, but now the AI position. Go ask any Chat GPT, go ask Bard. I like Chat GPT better for the time being until Google comes out with their one that actually works. Is go ask, hey, what are the top 10 questions or top 10 ad ideas that I can do for that? And like I said, I'm just doing the top of my head. So Joshua, that was a long answer there.
And this is why you're the consultant, Brooke. So this is a perfect question for you.
And Russell, to your point, it's a huge opportunity for service departments as well. Yes, it is. And do you want to speak on this at all, Madi?
For service departments to highlight their different capabilities in servicing EVs. Yeah, absolutely correct. I mean, leads back into the whole differentiation. What makes your service department different than others? I forget who said it earlier. It might have been Joshua about the ARIA, somebody, but they put a lot of focus on educating their service department on how to do that, which is a key factor in differentiating between your dealership versus another person. But yeah, huge opportunity to highlight that.
And I believe we talked about this. If not, I've discussed another episode, is from a service department, because are they going to not, no more oil changes, right? It's like, oh man, I'm not going to have an oil change anymore. Well, you still have other things. I mean, between all these over the air updates, while it's convenient, privacy as a whole, there's factor, which don't get me started on that. But some people will opt out of that, or it just breaks. We had talked about in the show that when we filmed it, that I think it was Rivian, or I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of them, that there was a glitch with it, and it actually melted a car seat. Now, I don't say that as a fearful thing. I say that as things break when you're based in 100% on technology and not human hands to say, hey, let's take a look at this, versus just a robot. It's the same thing with any AI. Like AI, you got to be human in it. So that's another one. Hey, how are we doing from a charging standpoint? Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I'm sure you probably want to charge this at home, don't you? Yeah, hell yeah, I do. Why wouldn't I, Brooke? Well, I've got, Madi over here that can install the entire charging station for you inside your house. What? Are you serious? Well, now that's another way of stream of revenue. So there's still going to be ways of streaming revenue. There's going to be a dip initially, I personally believe, just trying to figure out everything. But there's definitely a way from that. And Russell, your question, I will send you the Amazon link. It's a Sony ZV-1 or something like that, but I'll send you the link to the camera. So thank you. All right. We just covered a lot there, Madi. Did I miss any of your other takeaways? We get your third one?
Yeah, I think we got into it. I mean, we kind of sprinkled in that EVs are an additive purchase mainly that we're seeing along with the 3 pillars. But I think that really rounded out what we had to talk about. Obviously, we go in a lot more depth in the actual episode. But I would say if you have any questions about the content covered or just want to talk, I mean, my LinkedIn inbox is always open. Give me a call. I'll be at events coming up. So always happy to chat.
And we have our wonderful NADA, the circus of all circuses of wonderful conferences. That's just ginormous. And so I know that you're going to be there. You guys have got a booth there, correct?
Correct. Yep. We'll have a booth. We'll see you guys at the Sphere as well. If you're going to the kickoff party, we'll be around.
Fantastic. So definitely, I mean, anyway, that when it comes to LinkedIn is your preferred method. So reach out if you have any questions. I mean, and once again, when I jokingly said at the very beginning of the show that it used to be just S&P, then it was S&P Global, then there's mobility, and then Polk. Mainly, they have a shit ton of data. That's the bottom line there. So get with Madi if you have any questions, and she'll be happy to answer that. Any other questions coming in here? I know we're getting to end of year, so I'm trying to make this one a little bit shorter today. If you do throw them in, if not, you all know how to get in contact with either of us. I mean, I answer just about anything these days, so definitely hit us up. But I want to just, again, thank you so much. There was so much data that came out of this episode and so many takeaways from this show of things that I didn't know, like the peak model compliance. I'm like, I never even heard of that. Are you speaking Brookish? Like, what is this? And so there was just so much information that came out of the episode. And I cannot thank you enough for being on the show and to just spread the knowledge and spread the facts versus some lies and propaganda. And there's a lot of them out there. So I super, super appreciate that.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on. I mean, it was great getting to talk through this and spew some facts to the greater public. So thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, everyone. You know the drill at this point. Find a way to serve today. Find a way to just better someone's day. We're in a time right now that is just kind of, and Robbie, great. Thank you so much. It's good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. You knew that something would happen. As soon as I started closing out, people are like, no, we're coming back. So Jason came in late, but looking forward to rewatching from the start. And Jason, while you're still on here, reach out to either of us. If you have any questions, let me know. I am going to reach out to Mr. Ellis about the whole charging situation. So I'm not sure on that one there, Mr. Russell. But everyone, thank you so much. I just so appreciate it. We're almost at the end of the year here. And I look back, I'm just so grateful for all of you. Thank you for being a part of this journey and for all your amazing comments, your thoughts. There's a lot out there, and we just all learn together. So everyone, as always, find a way to serve today. Find a way just to better someone's day to day. Make them smile. Open a car door. Maybe just, like I said, just a kind smile. It makes everything better. And with that, everyone, we're going to see everybody next week.